time now for a look at the press with Elitsa Gadeva. Elitsa, you're starting with some reactions after French Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu's policy speech on Tuesday.
That's right, Caris. And of course, the highlight is on the pension reform suspension. As we can see here on British paper, The Times, the article says that after the suspension, Macron's political legacy was hanging in the balance. And of course, that's news on the front page of many French dailies. Left-wing Libération expresses its satisfaction with what it calls a major decision. It says that although it doesn't resolve the political crisis, it removes for now the threat of a no-confidence vote and therefore the risk of dissolution. Right-wing Le Figaro says that Lecornu has sacrificed the pension reform to satisfy the Socialist Party. It writes that the concession is huge, reversing one of the only reforms from Macron's second term.
And are there any analyses that caught your eye?
Yeah, there's this interesting editorial in the Wall Street Journal that says that France's pension reform was surrendered to the left. The article defends Macron's pension reform, saying that it's important to recognize how modest it was, saying despite of the huge backlash it received. It says that with the reform that had the idea to increase the retirement age from 62 to 64, France's retirement age would have still been below the European norm, Caris.
And now moving to Russia, where Syrian President Ahmed al-Sharaa is expected to arrive this Wednesday. What are the papers saying?
And that's right. Saudi paper Arab News reports that Sharaa is expected to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin, marking the Syrian president's first visit to Russia after the ousting of former dictator Bashar al-Assad. And Lebanese paper L'Orient Le Jour asks whether the new Syrian regime is on the path to reconciliation with Moscow. It says that what we're seeing today is something unthinkable in the past, a meeting between the former jihadist leader Sharaa and the godfather of Assad's regime. And the article says that after months of mutual mistrust, Damascus seems to understand that Moscow represents a useful card in building the new Syria.
So al-Sharaa, the current president of Syria, is going to the city that's sheltering the ousted former dictator of Syria, Bashar al-Assad. Do we know what he's up to there?
That's right. Well, German newspaper Zeit actually spoke to a former military officer who's close to the Assad family, who gave many details on the current life of the former dictator. The article is titled "The Silent Butcher," and taking his name, the butcher that he earned during his brutal rule over Syria, and adding silent because he lives under strict conditions set by the Kremlin. He has to avoid all political activity and public appearances. And apparently the source told Zeit that Assad spends his days gaming in one of his luxury apartments in Moscow. And as a reminder, his family owns around 20 apartments in Moscow in a skyscraper complex known as Moscow City. So he has to stay there. Sometimes he goes to the shopping center, but he doesn't do much. But his simple life is not always as peaceful. Last month, he was reportedly the victim of an attempted poisoning, Caris.
All right, and finally, you're taking a look at Time magazine's latest cover. It celebrates Trump's ceasefire in Gaza, but the US president has some thoughts on it.
Yep, so what we see here on the left is the Time magazine's cover, but Donald Trump complained about it and said that Time magazine needs to be called out for the really weird image the magazine used for the cover. Trump estimates that the story was relatively good, but the picture may be the worst of all time, Caris.
All right, Elitsa, thank you very much for that look at the papers.